So that is for you, sir. You're going to be able to enter. See us down there on the right.
Today, we launch and celebrate the inaugural departure of the UIA's Kyiv service. This is the very first of its kind and the embarkment of a great partnership and relationship between UIA and the GTAA. And we thank you all for coming to share in this very special occasion with us. I'd now like to invite Howard Eng to the podium to say a few words about the significance of this partnership for the GTAA. Howard?
Thank you, Kim. Actually, I was expecting a lot of boos when she introduced my name, so thank you for giving me some polite clapping. I'd like to echo Kim in welcoming Your Excellencies and Yuri for being our guest here today. We're celebrating a new partnership with Ukraine International Airlines and the launch of the Kyiv service. The partnership will help deliver on the promise to our passengers, offering new options for them to do direct flights between two cities. And in this case, Kyiv is a new destination from Pearson. Over the last few years, we have seen tremendous growth at this airport, and we forecast this growth will continue, and probably by 20 years from now, we'll see about 85 million passengers using this airport. So we're pleased to see that UIA will be part of our growth journey in the future. With direct flights, what we found is that it provides more convenience for passengers by having more convenience for passengers between the two cities. It will encourage more commerce, more tourism, and more cultural exchange. Direct flight stimulates all this, and it helps develop connections between the two cities and the two countries. So, over the last, as I said earlier, over the last 20 years, this airport added 20 million passengers. It took us 16 years to add the first 10 million. It took us only 4 years to add the last 10. Over the last 4 years, we have added 3 million passengers a year to this airport. This is why you see a lot of development and construction going on around us. We're pleased and proud to now count UIA as a partner in this journey of growth. And we hope that with this direct flight, it will bring the two countries closer together and also encourage, as I said earlier, commerce and tourism between us. I used to live for 30 years in Alberta, Canada, which is in the western part. It has a large Ukrainian population. I love Ukrainian food there. I'm looking forward to being able to fly to Kyiv and enjoy it there also. So again, I'd like to welcome Yuri and your airline for being here and doing, right now, 3 flights a week to Pearson. Hopefully that will go to daily shortly. Not that I'm putting any pressure on Yuri on that. But one of the most critical things I learned in this business is on-time departure. So I will not drag on my speech. I'd like to thank you and welcome everybody to this airport. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Howard. I'd now like to invite Yuri Miroshnikov to the stage to exchange gifts and say a few words.
Thank you, Howard. Dear guests, friends, Your Excellencies, it's a great honor for me to be here today, and it's a great emotional moment. Emotional because we all in Ukraine aware about support from Canada. We are aware about the role which Ukrainians play in the history of Canada, in the development of Canada, in the current economic prosperity of Canada. We are learning your lessons, and we as airline are bringing now our people and our countries much closer. It becomes simpler, it becomes shorter. I'm especially glad to say that once again UAE honored its commitment, because nearly precisely 2 years ago, in late June 2016, on the business forum here in Toronto, Ukrainian-Canadian Business Forum, I promised that in 2018 there will be a direct flight. And there is a direct flight now. Howard, we love daily flights. So I'm pretty sure this is only the beginning. Ukraine International, being a national carrier of Ukraine and developing its hub in Borispol Airport, we built the schedule of flights between Kyiv and Toronto in such a way, and I think it's thanks to the ability of slots in Toronto Airport. We have excellent connectivity not only in Kyiv to the points beyond, but also in Toronto to the points beyond. We have significant portion of transit traffic, but of course our primary objective is to satisfy the needs of Ukrainian and Canadians to travel, to communicate, to make business, to learn about each other, to know each other even better than it is now. And we will support this process, we will help this process, and I'm pretty sure in a successful development of this route. I wish to thank you all who helped to make it happen, on diplomatic side, on operational side, on Canadian and Ukrainian side. We will make it work. Thank you very much, and welcome on board of Ukraine International. Thank you.
Good?
Yeah.
Thank you.
And sorry.
Thank you very much. Oh, very.
Little,
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll now hear from Andriy Shevchenko, the ambassador of Ukraine to Canada.
Thank you, dear friends, chers amis, дорогі друзі. C'est un grand plaisir. What a wonderful day for this very symbolic first flight. They say that sky is the limit. I guess it's not when it's about Ukrainian-Canadian friendship and when it's about partnership between Ukraine and Canada. I would like to congratulate Yuri Miroshnikov, the crew, and his team on launching this flight. We know that it takes a dreamer to fly, and I remember when Yuri for the first time promised that Ukraine, that his company would launch this flight. And I remember the phone conversations when he shared possible concerns and challenges ahead of him. I'm so happy that the company has overcome all the challenges, and I'm sure that the company will do their best to make every flight a great experience for all their passengers. I also know that it's an expansion of company's global operations. I also would like to thank Yuri, your company, for uniting ranks with an impressive delegation of the Ukrainian tourism industry. And I would like those who represent this delegation to wave their hands. So they boarded the first flight to spend several days here in Toronto in order to explore new opportunities, how to make tourism between our two countries a true avenue of exchange and good business. I would like to thank the Toronto Pearson International Airport for being a friendly gate to Canada. It was the very first place where I stepped on the Canadian soil, so it's a very personal story for me. And by the way, it is one of the very few airports which have runways long enough to receive the Ukrainian Mriya and Ruslan airplanes, and we know that those are the world's biggest cargo airplanes. This, by the way, reminds us that Ukraine is a great aviation country, partnering with Canada in air and space production, and we are very happy to see Ambassador and my friend Roman Waschuk, who works so hard to strengthen trade and cooperation between our countries. I'm also happy that it's a link from Ukraine specifically to Toronto. And we know that Toronto is the heart of the Canadian economy. It's one of the world's top 10 best cities for education, and it's a great home for the Ukrainian-Canadian community which lives here. And simply, it's a wonderful place to be. I feel that I'm very jealous of our Ukrainian consul, Andriy Veselovsky, who works here. It's a wonderful place to work, and now it's a place which is so close to home. One flight or one nap away from home. I'm very jealous, Pan Andriy. And finally, while the crew and the president were in air, there was a phone conversation between the Ukrainian President Poroshenko and the Canadian Prime Minister Trudeau. And I know that they started this conversation actually discussing this particular first flight from Kyiv to Toronto. So it's a great news, and we have some strong people supporting and promoting this flight. Wonderful. Наостанок, два слова по-українськи для наших українських гостей. Чудово, що ви в Торонто, це фантастичне місто. Не тільки тому, що тут живе родина пана Романа Waschука, не тільки тому, що це місто, яке увіковічнено Майклом Щуром і телебаченням Торонто. Це справді чудове місто. І я думаю, що наші країни, вони зав'язані на небі. Ми завжди про це говоримо. Сьогодні це отримало матеріальне втілення в життя. Я думаю, що це прекрасний день. І тих журналістів, які є серед нас, я хочу привітати з Днем українського журналіста. Ми знаємо, що журналістами стають за 9 місяців до народження, не перестають бути ніколи. Зі святом. Congratulations, good luck, and sky is not the limit.
Thank you, Ambassador. And finally, I'd like to welcome Roman Waschuk to the stage, Ambassador of Canada to Ukraine.
Thank you very much. Your Excellency, my good friend Andriy Shevchenko, Mr. Miroshnikov, and head of the GTAA. Today is a day about connectivity. And connectivity of countries, connectivity of cities, connectivity of people. And so maybe a little personal remark as well as a Torontonian. And about this place, in fact. My late dad was an electrical engineer. And his last big project was doing the electricals for Terminal 3 here at Pearson. And so I think it's somehow fitting that this terminal has now become the connector, electrical, connectivity, power, exchange of power between Toronto and Kyiv. And since we tend to try to be practical in my family, although I never managed to become an engineer, I'm going to try it tonight by actually getting on the return flight from Toronto to Kyiv. Not only that, also persuaded my mother to come with me to get back to my work as Canadian ambassador in Ukraine. So I'm going to practically test it out, as have the people who have already just arrived from Kyiv. And I'm encourage as many of you as possible to also take advantage of it. I've already, to the Ukrainian tourism group, provided a few hints on places they might go, places that somebody like me considers cool, which may not be the definition of cool here in Toronto. But I encourage everyone from both the Canadian and Ukrainian side to make use of this air bridge and to make that connectivity really work for all of us and keep on meeting in the heavens. Thank you very much. Дякую.
Thank you, Ambassador. I'd now like to invite the Ukrainian dancers to come and perform a traditional welcome dance. Thank you so much. That was beautiful. I look forward to taking a flight on UIA to Kyiv to see it live in the Ukraine.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. Woo!
Thank you in particular to Mr. Miroshnikov and to the whole UIA team. I look forward to flying with you in the future, and welcome to the Pearson family.